Meeting of the Merrimack Valley School Board. First on the agenda is roll call.
Tracy Perky.
Here.
Peggy Jones Blanchard. Here. Sally Hurst Dickinson. Here. Eric Hansen.
Here.
Julia Jones.
Here.
Lauren Martin. Melissa Muzzy.
Here.
Jessica Wheeler Russell.
Here.
Laura Vincent.
Here.
Daniel York Jr.
Here.
Right.
So can I just say, you weren't at the last meeting. Lauren Martin resigned. Sure, I'm sorry. Pledge of Allegiance. Nick?
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And now we will have the swearing in of our new board members.
All right, where are our two new board members? Please stand, raise your right hand. Yep. And repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Gary Tobin,
Do solemnly and sincerely
solemnly and sincerely
swear and affirm
swear and affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform all duties
discharge and perform all duties
incumbent on me as a member of the Merrimack Valley School Board
incumbent on me as a member of the Merrimack Valley School Board,
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
agreeably to the rules and regulations
agreeably to the rules and regulations
of this Constitution
of this Constitution
and the laws of the state of New Hampshire.
and the laws of the state of New Hampshire.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
So now that we have sworn them in,
For the record, I forgot to sign off for moderator.
I saw that. I was,
just plain spaced it. And I'm gonna write a vigorous writing.
thank you. Thank you. I was really concerned.
Sign
So,
that. You need to sign. And then I will sign. And is there a notary here?
I did not bring my seal with me.
Okay, should we hold off on signing?
I can run over and get it.
Your call.
Well, or can we do it tomorrow night? Are you coming tomorrow night?
I'll just sign my half.
You saw, okay.
Okay.
all right.
You give me those?
What's your name?
so I'm going to, hold on just a second, Laura. I will have the new members introduce themselves, okay? So,
Hi, I'm Paula Dill. I had two boys go through the Bosquen Elementary School and the Merrimack Valley Middle School. And I have been in education myself for a little over 10 years.
Gary?
My name's Gary.
can you speak into the microphone?
My name's Gary Tobin. I live in Bosquen since 2019. I've had no students in the school system. My youngest is 49 years old. So they went to school a long time ago, along other places. So,
Thank you very much for stepping up. Appreciate it. So, the minutes of the previous meetings, I have the changes, thank you. Well, that was tough for me to spit out, wasn't it? I have the changes from Sally, the ones that are punctuation, that kind of thing. We talked about it, you were, again, last time we talked about it. Sorry, Kristen. We are gonna go back to having, Sally's gonna send them to me. I'll just forward them to you, so that we don't have to go through all the commas and the periods and so, anybody have anything to say about the minutes?
I'll just make note of my name in line 2.
Uh-huh,
That doesn't get caught spelling on there.
ERIK,
Here, I can drop the C and Hanson is EN.
and Hanson is EN. They were both on there, actually, but Sally got
Both
that.
styles were on there.
Yes. Anything else? Anybody else on the minutes? Okay, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Eric. All those in favor of the minutes with Sally's corrections, which you'll see. next month. Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Thank you. Public comment. So for those of you who are new, Gary and Paula, as you probably know, because you've both been on public boards, this is a public meeting of our school board, but it is a meeting of our school board. We will entertain public comment. We don't have a back and forth. It's just public comment. And we have 2 times that we do that. The first one, the public comment, is for items that are on the agenda. And the agenda has been posted in all the towns. And then we have another one at the end of the agenda where people can comment on anything they want. So first, public comment. Anyone? Anyone? Okay. Next is the SAU report on MV Business and Finance.
The finance report is in your packet. Some of the same overages you've been seeing, although the numbers have dropped a bit. We've been able to either transferring from grants or a couple that needed to be tweaked, and just one new addition and a couple that stayed the same. Happy to entertain any questions about the report or things therein.
So I need action. I need a motion on the finance report, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Questions? All those in favor of the finance report as printed? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Do you want to abstain? Abstention? Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good news. So good news was in your online. As always, there's so much great stuff happening. And we also have the Merrimack Valley Learning Center, Ken Fuller, our administrator for the Merrimack Valley Learning Center, to give a report. Come on down.
So I was supposed to have 2 students here and 2 staff members to do this. This was not supposed to be my gig tonight. I was just supposed to be here and observe, but I'm filling in. So we started this year what we call our Slackers Committee, which is our Student Leadership Advisory Committee. We took a student from each grade level. So they created this in their committee meeting. And they really wanted to focus on a couple things for everybody. So one of the big things that we've been doing, but we really kind of pushed it even more this year, was the community building. We do different things, whether it's getting a bunch of tables into the gym to play board games all together. We did trivia last week, different scavenger hunts for the kids to get in groups. And then our holiday spirit week, where we have points for the kids who are doing it, and then create teams on that as well. It's really kind of brought our group together. So our middle schoolers are separate from our high schoolers, same building, but they're separate. This is the only time where they come together to be a part of something together. It's been great to see our high schoolers mentor our younger kids. So now when we have a high schooler who has a study hall, instead of just having them sit there and pretend like they're doing something, we send them to the middle school classroom to be a mentor for those boys and girls in there. So we use them because they listen to their peers a lot more than they listen to adults. So that's been a huge success for us. Again, it's just any given time, right? Finding a time to connect with the kids. And so when you have kids who are asking to do things with you, we make sure we make a time during the day to fit that in, or sometime later in the week. Again, our holiday games, so same thing, just bringing together as a community. So everybody's in the gym together, being able to do different activities to kind of come together as a group. These are our representatives. Our grade 12 representative, which is Lily, was supposed to be here. She was sick today. Our grade 11 representative is actually on the varsity boys basketball team, and he is in Pembroke right now for his game. Our grade 10 representative, a little bit too shy to do this kind of thing. And our grade 9 would be the same. Our middle school was supposed to be here. I don't know where he's at, so I got nothing on that one. But our Slackers meeting, they meet weekly and just talk about different things that are happening in the building that they want to see changed. So trying to give them a voice for their peers so they can come back and talk about and trying to give them those leadership abilities. They've been in so many different places in terms of schools, whether it's middle school, high school, or even out of district. So coming back in, leadership wasn't one of their strengths. So we're trying to give them a voice and help them understand that they can use what they have in a positive way. So the Slackers has been a great way to do it. They connect with their peers, find out what the interests and things that are going on in the building, and then report back to the committee so that then we can try and find a way to fix those as a group and not just one individual. Here's just some comments. So Mr. Taylor was with the Learning Center way before I was there. I want to say it was 10 years ago. Thank you, Mrs. Sweeney. 10 years ago, he decided to become a stay-at-home dad when his wife had children. And then this year his kids are in school and he's trying to get back into the teaching world. So we were able to connect with him and get him to come back in to the Learning Center. Ms. Verrill, she was a math teacher over at the high school. And sometimes we don't always get the best name over at the Learning Center, but Ms. Verrill has come over and has been awesome, an awesome addition to our team. She knows her stuff about math and she's doing a great job of connecting with the students. So it's been great to kind of see her as well. I only would see her in meetings, but seeing her as a teacher is I have a whole new respect for her. Academics. So we try to do the hands-on. That's our main focus, trying to turn things into games, but also connect it to some different things that are happening. The two young men that are in that picture there, one of them is a middle schooler, one of them is a high schooler. He has a period 4 study, and he asked if he could go in there to mentor those students. Now when they're in the hallway and they're going past each other, it's a high five, it's a fist bump, it's a, hey, how's it going? Today I had a young man in middle school that was struggling, and the high school student who's in this picture came into the room and started having a real conversation with him about kind of what was going on. And I just stepped back. It makes my job a whole lot easier when we have the peers that are able to step in and do it. So the peer mentoring has been awesome. We also use our high schoolers and our middle schoolers to help out with recess duty at PES. So Jen Moore and Zach Stevenson reached out to me, where we talked during the summer at our retreat, and they were looking for some of the high schoolers and middle schoolers to come over and just help, because then once you have a high schooler or a middle schooler playing a game with these elementary kids, they tend to stay out of trouble and pick on each other. So it was great to see them mentoring. Story on that, our varsity basketball player was at a game, and a little boy was sitting down next to one of our staff members and his grandmother, and he kept yelling to 21, which is our student, and he said, hey, I know you were at recess with me. The student came over and gave him a knuckles, and the kid turned to his grandmother and said, that was my good friend. We play at recess together. So it was really cool to hear that story about what's going on. Chalk art, I know Fred Fred and I had a conversation about this. He at first thought it was spray paint. I assured him it's not spray paint, but we were able to take the kids outside and on the back of the building and do some chalk artwork, not spray paint, not paint. It comes off. It hasn't yet, but the rain doesn't get that side. So it might be a job this summer I have to do, so I'll work on it. at times we're able to connect with CSI, and they are very open to us borrowing some of their stuff. Well, they had hydroponic gardening thing sitting there all ready to go. And so our science teacher decided that she would approach them and ask if we could use it. They've been growing lettuce. So there are certain days that they put together salads for the students for lunch to go along with their meal from the high school. And it's been great for them to grow it and then kind of give back, take some home to their family. So it's been awesome. We also added guitar and piano class. I was fortunate enough for their finals for first semester to be able to go down and be an observer for them. And it was great to see some of them have no music ability prior to, and to see them be able to play songs on the guitar and the piano and be proud of the fact that they were doing things musically. So that's another huge thing that we added. Is that it? And that's all I have. Thank you. Anyone have any questions? Yeah.
For the Slack, are the leaders voted or picked by the teachers?
So we picked them first. But what we started to realize that was some of them weren't necessarily engaged because we picked them. So what we're going back to is it's going to be like a vote in. So they're going to have to petition to their peers to get a vote for them to be a part of it. So then it's a real buy-in for them. Cool. Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's fine.
Next up, Nick.
Alrighty. So this is a short month, so there's not really that much coming up, but I have a few things. Starting with Wednesday, February 19th, the MVHS Music Department will be hosting its third annual Chocolate Fest, starting at 6 p.m. Oh yes, I know Tracy, you were there last year. Students will perform individual and group performances, while there will be plenty of chocolate goods available for you to purchase. Again, that's Wednesday, February 19th. A very chill setting, kind of some jazz music sometimes, all different
Does it start at
genres.
6, Nick? I'm sorry.
Yeah, starts at 6
Thank you.
in the cafeteria right here at the high school. But a great event and a great fundraiser. Thursday, February 13th, also at 6 p.m., the Middle School Junior National Honor Society will be hosting their annual student-staff basketball game. It's always a lot of fun to see like Mr. O'Brien over there on the basketball court. Again, that's Thursday, February 13th at 6 p.m. National Honor Society members from Merrimack Valley High School went over to Pennacook Elementary and were building partnerships with some of the fifth graders. This will be an ongoing partnership in an effort to develop positive role model relationships. We've had some spelling bees going on. Pennacook Elementary School, over 300 words spelled, dozens of rounds, and a great audience. First place went to Sawyer Rogers. Second place, Noah Sierrano. Third place, Hayden Pelkey. And then also at the middle school, sixth grader Taylor Shadoba won first place at the spelling bee. Amelia Rowe came in second, and Calliope Bradish came in third. The art department here at the high school would like to share that 3 of our students have received Scholastic Art Awards this year. The artwork will be exhibited at Pinkerton Academy, and an award ceremony will be held in February. We are very proud of these 3 students: Allison the Montaigne, I'm sure you've heard her, Nafisa McDonald, and Garrett Barden. On the sports side, boys basketball is 8-1 this year, trying to win the first state title since 1993 for the school, and that's in boys basketball, and they are at Pembroke tonight. Nick Oglesby broke the indoor lawn jump record, which was set in 1993. It's been around for 32 years, and he won it with a jump of 21 feet 3 inches. The old record was 20 feet 11 inches. I know, 21 feet. Think about that.
Yeah.
That's super far for a jump. Girls basketball is at 6-3, and the boys ice hockey, Brady and Valley Co-op, won its first ever game as a co-op last month. So great times for the hockey. And I have a few jokes. When does Punxsutawney Phil know to look for his shadow? When his heart tells him to go for it. And why does coffee always taste better in the second month of the year? It's February.
Oh,
That's all I got.
thanks, Nick. Anybody have any questions for Nick? Next is committee reports. Let me just, before we actually get to the committee reports, let me just talk about right about now, as soon as the new election happens, we'll be talking about committee membership. So if any of you want to change your committee or anything, just let me know before March, April. March.
This is a reorganization meeting.
March. Yes, it will be after, right after. Yes, March. So the first committee report will be curriculum.
Oh my gosh, it was the best meeting, the best committee meeting I've ever
The
been
best
to.
of times, the worst.
Oh no,
of
it was the
times.
best of times, the best of times. And when I say it was the best committee meeting I've ever been to, I know that that's kind of a weird bar, right? It's committee meeting, but it was like, so we had the incredible privilege of being in the audience for the middle school and high school music programs. And it was like being a judge on the District's Got Talent, because we were just like, lined up front and being sung to and played to. And also the teachers spoke to us of the work that they're doing. And I was beaming the whole time. And so I guess what I can tell you is that our music programs at the middle and high school and elementary schools, actually, I'm sorry, let me not leave them out. We are so incredibly fortunate to have the faculty that we have. And I think the music programs are rebounding, and there's a lot to look forward to and listen forward to as well. So.
Thank you. Next up is policy.
So policy met this evening, all right, before the board meeting, so there's nothing in your packet yet. You will have 3 policies that we looked at tonight and moved forward for a first read. The first one is ACAA R-1, which is the Student Discrimination and Harassment Complaint Procedure. We also have ACAA R2, which is the Student Sex Discrimination and Harassment Complaint Procedure. And then the last one that we looked at was JLCB, which is the Immunization of Students Policy. So there's some changes to all of those. We did have a lot of support from the School Board Association on the language of some of these, and they could still change, but you'll have them in your packet in March for a first read. And we did book a date, and we know the committees are going to change, but just heads up, we're going to meet on March 24th at 5:30, as long as the new members, when we meet on the 10th, we can confirm that.
Sally, did you guys set another curriculum meeting?
We haven't actually, Catherine and I are going to talk over the next couple
Okay.
weeks.
I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing out on it. Next, old business, there is none. New business is our school calendar.
So you will find the draft calendar in your board packet. It's pretty straightforward. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. We have shared this with the MVEA and asked for any feedback that they may have in regards to that. And so this is the calendar that we are moving forward at this time.
It'll probably be the first Saturday in June. Maybe. Oh no, that's 10. I don't know what that is. That doesn't say.
Sorry. Are we going to have any elections held in our schools?
In between there. And if we do have any at the high school, we keep school in session.
Okay. But we don't have nothing happening in any of the elementaries, right?
Not this year.
No, no,
Okay.
not this coming year.
Okay,
Good
perfect.
question, though. Thank you for that.
Um, so, anyone? Yes.
Is there a reason why we don't start on September 2nd?
We would have to then move all of those days that we have prior to then to the end of the calendar. And I think
We do
We've
start on
become-
September 2nd.
we're before September 2nd, the 27th is our
I
start
gotcha.
date.
Gotcha.
So that would extend our calendar by 2 days. We have traditionally been starting before Labor Day.
And I believe Concord starts before Labor
Say
Day.
that is, I apologize, that is another
And-
point. We have to align
With the
very closely with Concord because we access them for CRTC.
And if I recall correctly, in years past, it's also a little easier on our littlest littles who are coming in to kind of start kindergarten, like a couple days, and then give them a break and then put them in.
That's a nice long December break.
So, I'll make a motion that we accept the calendar as presented.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any other questions about the calendar?
Do we know when graduation's gonna be?
You want to respond to that?
I'll let you go ahead and take that. We did talk about that, Nick.
Nick, I knew that was going to be your question, and you're looking at it saying, it can't be the second Saturday because then school is out. So the board will look at that within the next couple of months because people do start asking right around April. But it will most likely be the first Saturday.
So that's good because my birthday is the first Saturday of June next year.
Well, that's why we did this, Nick. We put the whole calendar around that.
June 6th. Whoop, whoop. Any other questions? The motion is to accept the calendar as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okey doke. Next is the bus lease resolution.
You just need somebody to read the motion that's at the top of that, and then Kristen will sign. This is what they've already agreed upon.
Oh.
So if somebody could just state that motion, though, that's at the top.
Somebody?
Yeah.
Not me?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
All right, I move that the resolution entitled Resolution to Authorize Lease Purchases of 2 new school buses in the principal amount of $213,760 be adopted in form presented to this meeting.
And we had voted on that last
Yeah, this is just
last
the-
month. This is just the resolution
The
For
formality.
the actual lease payments. to
Okay.
begin.
for the lease payments to begin, because we had voted.
Kristen will sign, and then we'll move those documents forward.
Okay. So the
So-
motion, can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Julia. All those in favor of the motion, the resolution to authorize the lease purchase, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Abstentions? Thank you.
Can I ask, when will we have the buses? Do you have any idea?
The buses are ready to go, so as soon as we get this paperwork over, then they're all lettered and ready to come to us.
Good. That's fabulous news. Fabulous, fabulous news. So next on the agenda is the manifest and journal entries. Melissa signed them electronically. I signed them electronically. You all read them. Julia. And so I just need a motion to accept them, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Laura.
Second.
Thank you, Dan. All those in favor of the manifest and journal entries, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So Kristen, did you get 3? 3, Julia. Yeah.
Stop. I'll read them next time.
I was gonna say, were you still having
No,
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
it.
what
That's
it is.
exactly
Yeah,
it.
It wasn't working.
Yeah.
I'm just checking if you can help with that.
Next is the board chairperson's report. That is me. Please know that I am doing everything I can down on, in that big white building on Main Street to work on funding for our schools. That's all I got. Next is the assistant super's report.
Sure. So we have officially passed the halfway mark in the 24-25 school year. And thanks to Mother Nature being cooperative, we've had a solid stretch of uninterrupted time for learning, and that doesn't often happen this time of year. So I know that our teachers are certainly very appreciative of that. I'm gonna knock on wood because I know what the forecast says. We are currently administering the NEWA assessments for reading and math in grades 3 through 8. And this year we've added grades 9 and 10 to this practice. So I think many of you are familiar with this digital adaptive assessment. We administer it 3 times a year. It provides a ton of information around each student's growth and achievement in specific curriculum areas. And I know that we're excited about some of the results we've seen so far. Specifically, our 6th grade readers have made some great growth. Growth is the area that we really choose to focus on. So recognizing that achievement is important, but also making sure that individual progress is continuing to happen. And so that is happening in all of our buildings. We are exploring the idea of a uniform response approach to emergency responses, specifically lockdowns. So as part of this effort, myself and the LES principal, David Bartlett, visited with the administrative team in Belmont recently to talk about their adoption and implementation of ALICE, which is a response protocol. This spring, a district committee will be considering all of our options and then planning some next steps for our schools. And then finally, I want to tell you about a video that one of our elementary schools sent to me today. So sometimes with all the excitement of what happens in the SAU, it can be, at least for those of us who I think of ourselves as teachers first, to lose a little bit of sight of the why, or why we're coming in each day. And this video was fantastic, and it reminded me of that. So it was kinders in one of our elementary schools, and they had built these rockets over the past month out of recycled materials, and today they launched them. So using a vinegar and baking soda concoction. So outside, they were having the time of their lives. And I can guarantee you, when we ask those kids, years from now, tell me what you remember about elementary school, that's one of the things they're going to talk about. And so that's why we're here, and that's the good stuff.
Thank you. Superintendent's report.
All right, I got one kid thing and then move on to the other stuff, as sometimes happens during my report. I did get to go to the middle school play this past Thursday, and it was awesome on so many levels. And one of the things for me that made it so good was just the number of kids up on the stage. I remember performances when you'd have 6 kids up there, and they'd be great and they'd be doing their thing. But this, there were, I didn't count them, but there had to be close to 40 kids up there, and all just being involved in just this big group. And it was so fun to see them all engaged, and the parents that were in the room. That was I really enjoyed that. That was the highlight of my week last week. So I wanted to circle back to some things that we've been kind of tossing around, but I don't think we've done a good enough job of sort of solidifying this. So this past summer, when Catherine and I were reflecting on our first year and identified concerns with both budgeting, expenditures, and those sorts of things, one of the things that we looked at, one key issue, was the maintenance expendable trust and how it was perceived and how it was used. So past practice was that projects were completed and the MET was there, and the assumption was that we could tap into that if we needed to, and just do those projects and knowing that it was there. But I think that some of that, as we were looking at that, we just felt that that was a little bit not strategic enough for us. So we wanted to shift our approach by keeping the smaller projects within the budget and sort of capping those lines and then reserving the MET for projects that are identifiable and the bigger projects. So the other thing I think that has been a past practice that we would like to flip a little bit is, it's one thing to ask for money from the expendable trust after there's been, an over expenditure or a project that was taking place. We'd like to flip that and say, here's the project, ask for that money, then the money's in hand to then go and do that project. One of them that is, going to be coming up is the high school roof, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But Fred's developed a comprehensive capital improvement plan. The CIP is on the website, and he's always in there tinkering and looking, and as new information comes through or if there's grants available, he's always looking at that and digging into it. He has a very deep understanding of the more than $100 million worth of facilities that we have. And if you doubt that in any way, just hand him a microphone and then step back, for the evening. But his proactive approach has been crucial in us maintaining the buildings and the grounds. And I think combining that with what we've looked at as sort of reshaping the expendable trust and the approach to the CIP, I think it resolves some of those concerns that Catherine and I had. So I'm going to hand out this document to you, and we can revisit it. It's just another, just a different approach to that. I can hit some of the highlights, and we can probably throw some out to the crowd as well. Want more?
No, I'll bring some down.
Okay, thank you.
Coming at you. Use it for an airplane. I'm gonna send Sally.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is there a reason that this wasn't in place before?
Like I said, this was about past practice, and this is something that we've been talking about and working, and kind of goes in, if you think back to when I presented that, financial well-being for the district back in maybe September. It kind of goes along those lines, and I apologize. It's our fault that we didn't, get this out earlier. So, even at the last board meeting, when we had the couple of folks asking about the amount going into the maintenance expendable trust, and things were being sort of thrown around. I think this clarifying document, which has really been something that we just haven't put down as concretely as this paper, I think would have helped. And I think, in fact, it might have been, as you look in that under the strategic use, notice that price tag of 1.8 million for the roof. So it's somewhere between 1.5 and 1.8. We currently in the maintenance expendable trust have about 572,000. So, the board may want to consider, and depending on, what happens at the public hearing, consider maybe moving that back to the 300 that was initially tossed out, because doing that, the roof is going to need it within a couple of years. But if we did 300 and 300, provided that money is available, that gets us close to that 1.2 million. And then between that, and looking at the costs, and then we have the budget lines and then the MET, we may be able to swing that project in, say, the summer of 27, provided nothing happens. And Fred's also been working with folks to look at if there's an opportunity to do one of the smaller sections of roof out of the, hopefully the approved budget for next year, to be able to chunk away some of those to then bring down that $1.5 to $1.8 million price tag. But identifying that the MET, that's the main purpose. And, that goes along with the increases of 100,000 in both site improvement and building improvement, to do more of those smaller projects that are on the CIP, out of those budgets, knowing that that's it, that's the amount, and then saving the MET for those bigger projects.
So if, right, past practice was to have the MET for emergencies, right?
Yeah,
More or less.
or just, it was there and it could really hit, if anything that was on the CIP would be fair game. So, the spending, if you look back at past years, those lines were always a bit over, and, last year a little more, with the idea that the MET was there, so it's not a big deal. But then that really is talking about any of the projects, as opposed to focusing it on the bigger projects, and then, deal with the smaller cost items within the budget lines.
So what would you, what would we do in the case of an unanticipated sudden expense that would otherwise have been covered by the Maintenance Expendable Trust?
You will be speaking to that article tomorrow. But thank you for that question. One of the articles on the warrant that the board voted to approve was the, being able to hold back up to 5% of the district assessment in the case of those sorts of emergencies. So, all of the best plans, right? So we say the roof for the high school in 27, something bad happens and we need it. We don't currently have those sort of, we do have some left in there, but we don't have the sort of the emergency funds, the expendable trust, or some of that, retained fund balance available. So those would be the things, as when we laid out the financial well-being, it was about having a fund balance that was more in line with what's suggested, as well as dealing with our expendable trusts and also this retention of unassigned funds.
Any other questions for Randy?
Basically, isn't this what we've been trying to do all along, though? This is how I always see it.
Yeah, and really, this just, I think, puts some of those big ideas in line, and allows us to say, all right, so this is, what we're going to be using this for, as opposed to this is going towards the CIP. So I think clearly identifying those bigger projects is the difference. I think it just makes it a little more concrete than saying we have 572,000 in the MET, and thinking about the CIP in general. I think this strategy allows us to focus both the efforts on the CIP and keeping them within budget lines on the smaller things on the CIP. And, those things move as well, like the CIP. If you went on there every week, you're going to see changes, because Fred's in there every week with, hey, we were able to do this, or we made this change, or this is actually more now, so those priorities and the year that things will be done get changed quite often.
And the friends work very hard to spread it out so it's kind of even and not all of a sudden you need big things.
Exactly. And like I said before, Fred's been great about being very proactive and going through. I mean, when you look at that CIP, it's now a 10-year CIP. There are some things that are 7, 8, 9 years down the line that, if it were me figuring out, there's no way I would have been able to identify some of those things yet. Fred knowing what he knows about, what we have in this, more than $100 million worth of facilities, knowing that those are going to be things that we're going to have to look at.
Anyone else? Thank you very much. So we're down to the second public comment. Okay, seeing none. We don't have anything to go into non-public for tonight, so we can get rid of those three things. I need a motion to recess this meeting until tomorrow night after the public hearing.
So moved.
Thank you, Gary. All those in favor of recessing now? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Perfect, perfect. So tomorrow night, in the auditorium at 6 p.m. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you.